Welcome back to Squawk on the Street, here from the Barclays Financial Services Conference. PNC announcing plans to buy FirstBank for $4.1 billion this week, expanding into Arizona, giving PNC a substantial presence in Colorado. Joining me exclusively here at the Barclays Global Financial Services Conference is PNC CEO Bill Demchak. Bill, great to see you. Welcome.
Good to see you, Sarah.
So why this deal? Why now?
It was there. You know, it's a rifle shot into Colorado and Arizona that basically fills out a place we were otherwise building branches. We don't have to build there anymore. We can focus on new markets to build in. You know, banks are sold, not bought. They had reasons that they thought it was time to sell. And it's, you know, it's a gem of a little institution.
Are we going to see a lot more of this kind of thing from you?
You know, banking's unpredictable. Everybody thinks that there's going to be a big merger wave, and I just said it. Banks are sold; they're not bought. Right now, the environment is so friendly for banks. Interest rates are right-sizing, credit's good, consumers are spending, so everybody feels pretty good. Nobody wants to sell. Banks are usually sold when the economy's in trouble, when somebody's messed up, and there's a crisis, and I just don't see that. So no, I don't.
So you're pushing back against the merger wave in banks?
Yeah, I don't. I think each one is unique and has a story, as FirstBank did. I don't think you're going to see big bank deals. I think life is too easy for banks, even ones that aren't necessarily good long-term performers.
Because the thinking is the smaller banks eventually need scale, and we have a friendlier regulatory environment. And those two things should add up to more M&A.
Rationally. The world isn't always rational. Scale matters. I think that was one of the things FirstBank saw was they wanted to be able to keep their current customers and offer them, newer, better products as the customers grew. Not everybody thinks that way. I think over time, competition is going to cause that outcome. But people take their time. There's a lot of other things that come into play when and if and before a bank is sold.
So it's just a good opportunity for you. Because one of the questions that I got talking to a lot of analysts ahead of speaking to you is, why didn't he go for something bigger? He's had ambitions of being a bigger bank. Yeah. Why didn't we see a bigger deal?
We have ambitions of being a national coast-to-coast bank, right, where we have kind of ubiquitous retail presence across all the markets that matter. How we get there is a long and varied path. We're 165 years old. We've purchased, dozens of banks through our history. I think in this environment, it's unlikely that you're going to see large banks for sale.
Because it's a good environment.
Yeah, and we don't need that, right? We're growing organically faster than I think we've ever grown in our history. We're going to onboard more clients this year than we ever have.
Why? What's driving that?
It's the newer markets we're in. We've moved from slower growth markets, if you think of the Northeast and Pennsylvania, down into Florida and Texas, and now Colorado with FirstBank. Population growth, wealth growth, and we're good at what we do. So we're gaining share in all of those markets. So we don't, eventually we're going to be a national coast-to-coast bank. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It has to be a path that we're on for the next, forever period of time. Growing organically, we'll do acquisitions if they show up and they make sense, but we're not dependent on it.
What does consumer credit look like across the country?
It looks good. We had record consumer spending on both debit and credit card last month. We are seeing more leverage, a lower FICO score credit, but we're not really seeing delinquency spike. Now, our credit book is kind of a prime credit book, so we're not going to be a leading indicator of that, but the consumer is still healthy.